Heavy rain in Mozambique caused a garbage mountain to collapse and killed 17 local residents. A former drug addict was touched by DaAi TV's program and turned his life around by joining Tzu Chi volunteers. Welcome to DaAi Headline. I'm Maggie Tai. Thank you for joining us. We begin our program today in Mozambique. At the capital of Maputo, 17 people were buried and killed in a garbage heap after the heavy rain caused a mountain of garbage to collapse. Mozambique Tzu Chi volunteers mobilized after the disaster to provide hot food to the settlement, as well as delivering blankets and mosquito nets. The accident posed a question that is it a natural disaster or a man-made problem?
Heavy rain led to this natural disaster, which could be described as man-made. The largest rubbish dump in Mozambique, with an area of 19 hectares and a height of more than 15 meters, or 5 stories high, proved to be deadly. As early as 10 years ago, authorities warned about the accumulation of garbage, noting that this dump must be closed down. Local residents, however, didn't heed the warning and continued to dump their garbage and didn't move away, which is one of the reasons behind this recent disaster. The first day after the disaster, February 19th, Tzu Chi volunteers mobilized and visited the disaster area. A girl cannot find her mother, who went missing and is feared buried under the rubbish pile. The scene looks like purgatory. 7 houses were buried and 17 were fatalities. The day after the disaster, all affected households were forcibly evacuated by the government. On the way to the resettlement center, a Tzu Chi truck stalled and got stuck in the mud, leading volunteers to walk the rest of the way. On the third day after the disaster, vegetables from the DaAi garden were harvested, and volunteers early in the morning prepared a kitchen underneath a large tree. Upon hearing about the problems with the truck operated by Tzu Chi, a Fujian Chinese business person sponsored the large truck to deliver plastic bowls and plates. To help this large truck into the area, sand was piled up on the dirt road, and volunteers also pushed the truck. Finally, volunteers were able to deliver hot food to the survivors. As the resettlement center has yet to provide resources to meet the influx of new survivors, volunteers help set up tents and distribute blankets and mosquito nets. Mosquitoes are abundant in this disaster area, and the large public hospital has a shortage of malaria drugs, making prevention particularly important. For these impoverished families affected by the disaster, they may never return to their homes, so they have been comforted during this difficult time.
A former beauty pageant queen in Philippines, Vay Damos, who's also a senior college student, was severely injured in a car accident 4 months ago. Having no money for medical treatment, Tima stepped in to give her an eye surgery, and this action has touched her whole family, who now plan to sell more banana chips so they can also be givers to the needed. Although she has a scar on her forehead, her beauty still remains. Vay Damos was once a beauty pageant queen, but her life changed completely after a car accident last September.
I can't really see clearly, and I can't walk in a stable manner because I can't evaluate distance.
Her whole body was bruised and her left eye was dislocated. The doctor estimated the surgery fee about $10,000. The family only owns a small business and can hardly afford it. Hence, her mother turned to volunteers in Davao City, and Tima has stepped in to bring Vay to Manila for a surgery.
Her floor was destroyed, so we had to put in a special material to support the eye.
She's no longer dizzy and can walk normally now after the surgery, but she still needs to go through another surgery to adjust the eyeball's height after 2 months.
I am very thankful to the Tzu Chi Foundation because they showed us how much they care about a person's life.
We've talked about working harder to sell more banana chips in the future, so when there are people who needed us, we can reach out our hand to help.
Swerte din ako at saka parang
Not all storms will destroy your life because some of them can clear out a path for you, and this has opened a different vision of life for me.
A life experience taught this family the preciousness to help others, and Vei has made up her mind to join as a volunteer to help more people in need. Another car accident victim, Tang Pingxiu in泉州, China, has become physically challenged since the accident last year, and her family also faced financial difficulties to retrieve her. Fortunately, Tzu Chi volunteers reach out to this family and deliver much-needed love and care. Now she's able to work with the prosthesis and stop receiving Tzu Chi's monetary aid. Her wish is to pay the love forward.
On April 7, 2017, Tang Pingxiu, who was riding a scooter, was hit and dragged by a truck. In the accident, she lost her left forearm and right calf.
I was in extreme pain. If I died, I would not feel the pain. However, if I die, what would happen to my children?
Tang and her husband were both technical workers who moved from Guangxi to Quanzhou in 2003. They worked very hard to raise 3 children. They were also saving money, ready to return to their hometown to build a house. Nevertheless, this car accident shattered their dreams.
Where would the money come from? I have not worked for the entire year. Our family could not only rely on my husband. Look, the children are still so young, and my husband shoulders all the responsibilities.
When the family was the most desperate, Tang's nephew, who knows Tzu Chi, contacted Tzu Chi volunteers asking for assistance. For 2 months during Tang's hospital stay, the volunteers delivered meals every day.
When she was seriously injured, she actually thought of giving up her life. But then she thought about her 3 children. Therefore, her motherly responsibilities gave her the strength to carry on.
The power of love encouraged Tang to wear prostheses and undergo rehabilitation. After being hospitalized for 121 days, Tang finally returned home.
I really appreciate them. I am very grateful. They are not my relatives and I do not know them, but they were so kind to me. I think it is wonderful to have Tzu Chi.
Tzu Chi volunteers' love has touched many people. Even Tang's lawyer wants to volunteer with Tzu Chi.
This couple has become very optimistic and they keep praising Tzu Chi. Therefore, I also became interested in joining Tzu Chi. I've joined this team hoping to do my share to help people around me.
Now Tang can carry out household chores with the support of a mop. Despite life's difficulties, she's willing to help other people.
She has asked to stop receiving Tzu Chi's monetary aid. She hopes to pay the love forward.
While her husband shoulders the heavy responsibilities, her children are also very mature, helping out around the house.
I do not feel it is hard work. I simply do a little bit more than in the past.
Mom, you've worked very hard. Now that you've been injured, you can take a break. I hope I can find a good job when I grow up and make my mom feel fortunate.
Despite the challenges they face, this family has stayed strong. Tzu Chi volunteers' love and care have also helped the family along the way.
In other part of China, Xiamon's Wuyuanzhuan was once a land of mud and farmland, but now one of the 4 special economic zones in China because of quick economic development. Many local farmers turn their farmland into factories or rental homes. As wealth accumulates, many people ended up living luxurious lives and wasting their lives away. Tzu Chi volunteer Sun Fujia was one of them, but was inspired to realize his mistakes, and now he dedicates himself in recycling and environmental protection.
Every week, Tzu Chi volunteers will appear in narrow alleys here in Xipan, Xiamen, and collect recyclables from the residents.
If he didn't pick them up, where could we bring them to?
When the volunteers talk about picking up recyclables, they are reminded of Sun Fujia, who is always eager to help. Sun is also attentive to the details of work.
It's leftover from a cloth factory, but it's very strong, so we got it from them, and we can tie up paper with it. It's quite useful.
The height of these recyclables have surpassed that of the car, but Sun Fujia is able to load all of them in one trip instead of two.
You must know how to pile them up and tie them up. When I used to sell vegetables while riding my bicycle, I could carry 529 pounds of them.
Sun Fujia started selling vegetables as a teenager, and in 2013, he turned to building factories and houses for rent. It made him rich, but he developed bad practices.
I drive around to have fun, to drink with friends or play cards with them. I lived a life that wasted blessings.
Then in May 2014, a Buddha Day ceremony changed his life.
When I saw a scene where kids washing their mom's feet, I was touched and also shed a lot of tears. Tzu Chi was a different world and made me feel warm. I was touched that I wanted to be a volunteer too, and I wanted to do things beneficial to people.
After he went home, the first thing he did was washing dishes and mopping the floor.
In the past, I had to bring him water and food, but after he joined Tzu Chi, he'd help me with housework.
I lived a life of an emperor. If I hadn't joined Tzu Chi and interacted with people, I don't believe I could have become this way.
After living a life of emperor for over 10 years, Sun Fujia focuses on doing Tzu Chi work. His factory has become a place for his spiritual cultivation.
After I joined Tzu Chi, I work without asking for anything in return, and I also feel very fulfilled.
There are many volunteers who are as diligent as Sun Fujia, and they work together to protect the land in Xiamen.
It's never too late to change your life. A 20-year drug addict Li Jialing started to use drugs when he was 18 and has been in and out of jail several times. One day when he saw DaAi Television's program while still holding a pipe to use drugs, he was touched by the silent mentor story. His tears started to fall down and he couldn't help but kneel down to cry. This is the turning point for him to become clean. Now he's a Tzu Chi volunteer and has earned back the trust of his family.
I used to deliver packages and furniture for people, and I bought this type of car to work. Yes, I also used that car to sell drugs.
He worked very hard to earn money, but he was also doing drugs very hard. Sometimes even he made several $1,000s a month. It's still not enough for him to spend. When he was doing his training for recycling volunteer, I saw him changing little by little. When he returned to the Jinsi abode to clean up the environment, he even told me that he has quit smoking. It happened at the first time he went back.
I worked in a moving company before, so I know the tips to pile up things for it to be well organized. I like doing recycling because I want to be a useful person. I've been a person with no contribution to society for almost 30 years. I was useless, and to be frank, I was a bad person. About 5 years ago, when I was watching DaAi TV, I saw Dr. Cho's wish, and I was very touched because she donated her body to the hospital to be a silent mentor. I was deeply touched, and my tears kept pouring out. Perhaps out of repentance, I vowed to become a Tzu Chi volunteer. I was still holding a pipe in my hand at the time, and I was kneeling in front of the TV and I cried.
He said we wanted to join Tzu Chi, and I said sure.
很对不起他，真的很对不起他。他
不用对不起我，没关系。现在补还来得及啊，哈，还来得及。
觉得对他很愧疚。
这样不要变成我。
来，抱。我从来没有这样抱过你。好了，慢些。
就是我看到我爸很努力的在为我付出，表达他对一个女儿的爱。
I saw that my father is trying hard to do something for me to express his love to his daughter. He won't speak about it, but this is the way he expressed his love. So I started to realize my father's change, and I was very grateful for his change because now I finally have a father.
因为我有爸爸了。
I finally have my son back now.
如果你盖掉，赶快过来帮。10层装，要慈济的人。
This is the Tzu Chi uniform. A man needs to participate in Tzu Chi's training for 2 years. And when the master gave you a certificate, that's when you are qualified to wear this uniform. I'm very proud of Tzu Chi.
Nothing makes elders happier than the return of their child in family gatherings. Tzu Chi Malaysia chapter started to host a monthly study group for senior volunteers to get together and sing. One of the members remarked that at her age, it's hard to find a hobby, so she treasures the quality time with other elderly Dharma families very much.
A group of elderly Tzu Chi volunteers are reading out aloud. The participants of Tzu Chi Songs for 50 Years study group are senior Tzu Chi volunteers.
This event is very unique as it is designed to serve seniors. Since life is impermanent, we hope to seize the opportunity for our Dharma families to meet up and sing together. In the process, we can learn about the Master's teaching.
Despite their old age, the seniors are young at heart. 94-year-old Han Gong-chu has saved 50 years of his age in Tzu Chi Special Bank, feeling young again.
I will do my best to come here. At my age, it's not easy to have an interest. This opportunity is very precious. I never imagined that at my age I could come here to chat with everyone. I'm very happy.
Let me tell you this, as long as you are here and as long as I'm here, we will continue to hold this study group.
The study group lecturer Tan Su Suan has made a promise to continue holding the study group so these senior Tzu Chi volunteers can gather and have a good time together. As the volunteers get together to sing, they can also care for their Dharma families with love and gratitude.
Next, we take you to explore a medical issue. Antibiotics, if abused, will not only make the bacteria in the body more resistant, but will also cause drug-resistant superbugs to emerge in the hospital. World Health Organization has long been focusing on this subject. An investigation of drug resistance report from National Health Research Institute in Taiwan will surprise you.
Pharmacists in hospitals are busy dispensing medicine, whether it's powdered or granular antibiotics to treat different bacterial infections.
The oldest antibiotic is like penicillin, some of which are also known as amoxicillin.
Antibiotics effectively controlled the outbreak of bacterial infection during World War I. The result was that it became panacea that it is abused all over the world, with the medical community forced to constantly develop new antibiotics.
In frontline, antibiotic can be used. You could be developing a resistance as more back-end form antibiotics should be used.
Studies conducted by the Tri-Service Veterans General Hospital have found that some 70% of the healthy children have a resistance to penicillin in Taiwan. A study of this topic in Taiwan named TSAR by the National Health Research Institute will surprise you even more. Researchers sampled 401 to 783 strands of E. coli from 2002 to 2012 every other year in Taiwan's major hospitals to see how resistant it was to antibiotics. The types of antibiotics studied include the most commonly used antibiotics in outpatient settings from the first generation to the fourth generation. This experiment is mainly intended to understand antibiotic resistance in a clinic, with the results being amazing.
它的抗药性都一直持续在上升中，而且要强调的是，有的抗药性
Resistance has been on the rise and it has reached more than 20% by 2012. It also shows that resistance continues to rise from 2014 to 2016.
2016年再继续看的话，它的抗药性还是持续在上升。
From 2010 to 2016, a bi-monthly sampling found that back-end antibiotics for outpatients frequently use CIP antibiotic. In this report, they have been able to see their power.
我们这里在比较的是从加护病房、非加护病房还有门诊、急诊病人的。
Here we compare the resistance of E. coli to 3 different antibiotics in intensive care unit and non-ICU outpatient emergency patients. The resistance of these E. coli in ICU is on the rise, and this is also being in many clinics in Taiwan.
台湾的门诊分离出来的大肠杆菌，它的抗药性也是逐年在上升的。
Enter the National Health Research Institute's Division of Infectious Diseases, which is leading the fight against bacteria.
Every country does an accounting of their bacteria. Taiwan has such a system, which is the National Health Research Institute. We do a bacteria census in Taiwan to search for bacteria in various hospitals to see how resistant they are to drugs.
这些盘子是我们用来测试这个抗药性的盘子啦，哈。
These petri dishes are used to test drug resistance. Each dish has a different concentration of drug in it. Therefore, if the bacteria isn't killed, then it is resistant to the drug and will continue to grow.
From this computer screen, we can see many circles like the game of Go, but it actually contains a hidden mystery.
If this bacteria grows, it shows that the medicine is ineffective. So this just goes to show what is happening in your body. If you give it medicine, a bacteria continues to grow. This is a bad thing, as it is becoming more drug resistant.
Why do some bacteria become resistant to antibiotics and some don't? Guo points out that some may be like martial arts masters who have special talents. Some bacteria have special skills that can resist antibiotics. However, there are some where antibiotics are useless. Experts suggest that as long as one does not take antibiotics for 3 to 6 months, the body's bacteria will gradually lose resistance to antibiotics. This means that we shouldn't become over-reliant upon antibiotics as the best way to protect ourselves.
South American country Ecuador was once hit by earthquake and flood. This time they send their love and blessings by canvassing for donations to the earthquake victim in Hualien, Taiwan. We will leave you with these images and thank you for joining us.